actually do like the Dave Matthews Band.
Oh!
I like him. I think it's pretty chilled out stuff. It's not really. It's not my favorite style of music.
Over to the other side of the studio now,
dude. It's not like It's not like I said I have a signed Nickelback shirt or something like that. Come on.
If you did, I would
like
disassociate myself with you immediately. So.
I like to relax every once in a while, and while I'm relaxing,
I do too with good music.
Dave Matthews Band is not bad.
Anyway, why don't you intro our players?
You're probably into Slipknot, weren't you?
No,
okay.
I was. Oh, although I will say, okay, who's that embarrassing middle school bands? Go me, Korn, Linkin Park, and Nelly. Boom.
Oh man, well I had Korn. I was never into Linkin Park, but I did listen to early Limp Bizkit and also Coal Chamber. I was a big fan of.
Ooh,
are you familiar with Coal Chamber?
Yes, I do have you on those. So
yeah,
I was because I got into like Static X and things like that around then too.
Dude,
are we having a connection from like bad bands?
Yeah,
no, Wisconsin Death Trip.
Dude, I was at Rockets and Robots tour in the year 2000, which was Dope, Static X, and Power Man 5000.
Wow.
That was 12 years ago
God.
now. Wow, I'm old.
We just randomly had a connection from bad bands.
We did.
Anyway, go ahead. Why don't you introduce our players?
Okay. So now that we've got that all the way, let's introduce these players from our satellite tournament. It is none other than NSH.Sting. We've seen him every once in a while in team leagues. He is here to try to qualify for IPL5. And up at the top right part of the map is our Red Protoss player from the team. It's GoSu, one of my teammates. It is actually Hwangsin.
Yeah, so I think this is going to prove to be a fun matchup. I really love NSH.Sting. I love his approach to the game, what he's been doing recently. Great player to watch. Hwangsin as well, just developing into such a well-rounded player himself. So. Yeah. I think this is going to be fun.
Hwangsin, from a coaching perspective, is one of the hardest working pro gamers in SC2. This guy plays so many games. He tries so hard. He hasn't had a ton of success just yet, obviously, but I really do believe. I believe in him, man. I believe someday we will get those wins. So I appreciate the work he's putting into it right now. Hopefully it will pay off.
Well, Pro gets a pretty good look around. Do believe, no, it did not see the expansion. Has to suspect that something is up, but Sting just building that off to the side for now.
Hwangsin, I talk you up, and then you don't scout their base fully. It's a little bit disappointing.
He is checking everywhere. He thinks there may be a proxy round or something like that.
I know. Well, it's because he didn't check the one place in the base. I don't know. It does happen. It happens to everybody. But it looks like it will be a Nexus after his one gate anyway as well. One gate expand. And his opponent will have his command center done slightly sooner. So not a gigantic deal, but certainly something that's going to make the opening a little bit awkward for Hwangsin.
And so these are all best of threes tonight as the viewers kind of trickle in. So if you're just joining us, and they are from round of 32, top 8 players make it into IPL5. They're given a pass to actually be able to compete. And so after this, we're going to have actually Liquid Hero, a match from him. Then we're going to have a match that features EG Huck. And then after that, we're actually going to have all the Protoss players today, apparently.
Oh, there we go.
He sees it now. We are going to have Creator Prime versus MC capping off the night.
That's right. And, it's been a really long time since we've casted individual league stuff, hasn't it? I mean, I think the last time we casted it was maybe Yieldy Map Tournament. Yeah. Way back when. So this is kind of cool. And I feel more relaxed today, I mean, yesterday was obviously a very intense match with Team Liquid versus Slayers and everything. Hugely exciting. But it's kind of fun to just kick back and enjoy some StarCraft 2 today like we're going to. And hopefully the matches will be good. Hopefully we'll get some good games. Pretty normal stuff so far out of these 2 players. 3 barracks for Sting. Getting that double gas of 4th barracks. That's kind of interesting. All right, cool. It's going to be a bit of a variation on that 4 racks powering build that we see sometimes. If he adds a 5th barracks, that'll be extra cool. Hwangsin going up to 3 gates. Yeah, and adding him on 33 supply, so that's pretty late, which means that he's feeling plenty safe right now. He doesn't feel like he has to get out a huge amount of units to hold anything in the very near future. As we know, though, of course, with 4 barracks up, Sting will certainly have the potential to put on quite a bit of pressure in the relative near future, actually adding on reactors now before he decides to move up into any sort of tech labs. Yeah, we'll see what he decides to do with this. Pressure is definitely the most likely option. Oh, he lost the Stalker. That is not something you want to have happen. But at least he does see where the Marines are. He does have the Robo Bay going down at home as well. So again, just standard play. Hwangsin really, really likes the 2 forge style. He really likes the double forge, slow, methodical PVT lately, especially on bigger maps like Daybreak. He does have some 2 base all-ins. He does have some aggressive things he can throw in from time to time. He's got a great Blink Stalker build on Antigua. But overall, he does like to play more passive in this matchup right now.
Sting now working on a few upgrades. Concussive shells and combat shields. Not the combination I would have expected right at the beginning. Usually you'll see from Terran players now, if they don't get that concussive shell right at the beginning, to go ahead and put on a ton of pressure, which may be actually what's going to happen here, then they'll go ahead and put up stim and combat shields at about the same time. Concussive shell will come later as the army develops, so this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's something that is seen a lot with 3 barracks into double medevacs usually. With 4 barracks, a lot of times they will actually go for that combat shields first just to be able to get that really early attack and be able to have as many upgrades on the bio as they can before they get there.
Yeah, I'm used to combat shields, but I'm surprised that the concussive shell was what was chosen right along with it. So,
okay.
But
it could also be a timing. The way this works too is it'll time up really nicely with +1 attacks as well.
Now, as we can see, Hwangsin moving up to 3 additional gates, so he'll be on a total of 6 gates here in a second with that. Robo producing Immortals, so I did.
How dare you?
I always unmap this because I always zoom in too much, so remind me to do it in between games.
You can unmap it. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right. I do like to have it mapped because I like to zoom in and do crazy things with the camera every once in a while, and hence, I don't observe very much. So there you go. That's fine. I will remind you, don't worry. And Hwangsin moving in. Getting a force field on some of those units, but you got to be careful in this situation because there can be more units than there appear to be in this. But it looks like he does have a decent force field. Nice donut on some of those Marines there, but the Zealot count is getting a little bit lower. Looks like he has just enough to handle this. Should probably, he's going to be able to handle that quite nicely. Lost some Zealots, but not bad.
That worked out really well. I mean, the first round of force fields were actually about as perfect as he could have wanted. They cut the units in half almost exactly. Yes, the Zealots were a little exposed after they were done, but that was actually better than having them either useless or getting destroyed by too many units. So
that was pretty much perfect. You know, here's one of the problems with casting a player that you work with and things like that, because I feel a lot of people think it makes you more biased, but I feel like it makes me more critical. Like I'm looking for him to make mistakes so I can tell about them later, but I need to just cut that off, It's tough to. It's hard.
Well, as we can see, a 5th barracks coming up now before the starport was even started. So Sting, though, preemptively pulling a lot of SCVs off the line to buffer some damage because it looks like Hwangsin wants to put on some pressure right now. Forward pylon inside of his opponent's natural.
This is an interesting timing. He decided to just go for it after winning that fight so efficiently here, and he's letting some SCVs through. There's the force field to trap it off. Very nicely done. He's going to kill so many workers with this, and he should be able to get away if he needs to. The force fields have just been great, letting little groups of units through here and there. He's got another big warp in. Needs to pull back a little bit to get those Zealots in. No, he's just going to actually push in. And Hwangsin may actually just have enough to end the game right here.
Yeah, no kidding. So was a little cavalier with those Immortals. Probably could have controlled those a bit better, but looks like everything going pretty well according to plan. Now he's killed 24 workers. He's up in workers. Everything is just working out so well for him at the moment.
Well, he did a great job when the attack happened of funneling those workers through that gap in his force fields and then closing it off right before any offensive units came through. And with the supply lead, man, I mean, he's taken over the natural expansion. He's taken over everything. Yeah, I think Hwangsin's got this game in the bag, and he should just be able to try to move up the ramp when he feels like it. Well, or he could play safe and take a 3rd, too. I mean, there's no real reason for him to go up there. I mean, he can end the game, but can choose to play safe instead, wait for another round of warp-ins or so.
Still warping in quite a few units up at the front.
There we go.
Though, so, it looks like he's going to go for it now. Would expect a Guardian Shield. Oh, he doesn't have enough. That would be why. So just enough for some force fields here in a second.
There's a Guardian Shield.
But now units can start going through, and supply depots up at the front have all gone down now for the most part. Sting does have a very nice defensive position here, and of course Hwangsin has to make sure he doesn't overcommit.
Yeah, Sting does have +1. He also does have stims, so he's still got a very strong army here. He's going to try a bit of a desperation drop, it looks like. Hwangsin, though, we'll see how ready he is for it at home, but he should be in pretty good shape. He's going to probably try to push up the ramp again. Maybe not. Okay, maybe we'll just decide to go home. Yeah, generally he does like to play this matchup passively. He just tried to go for that counterattack because he saw he had an opportunity there after winning that one fight. And so there he goes. Did he see the drop coming across the map? I don't believe he actually did. Sting's going to look for a 3rd base, but he's not going to find one.
No, unfortunately not, and Hwangsin looks like he'll have his units back home just in time to deal with this as well.
Yep, that's right. Getting the Twilight Council for Blink, getting a Forge for more upgrades as well. Starting those double upgrades. Here comes Sting, but there's the rest of the army for Hwangsin, so even though he will lose some Stalkers, he's going to be able to clean this up very easily. And even though Sting picks some units up, that's just not going to be enough. The supply is even right now. Sting does have a decent army force, but he had his natural delayed for so long that he's going to have a hard time keeping up in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, but I like the fact, though, that he hasn't given up yet, and I actually think he's playing a pretty good catch-up right here. I mean, Hwangsin probably should have gone back home a little bit earlier than he did. He tried one too many attacks right up the gut and paid for it a bit. So
yeah, well, that's why you don't see players doing that too often. The whole, when you're ahead, get more ahead thing. I mean, after denying the natural expansion for that, you're so far ahead you don't really need to move up in that case. So he thought he could end the game. That's how a lot of players think, unfortunately.
Well, Hwangsin now does have a few more pylons coming up because he was pretty critically supply blocked, losing all those forward pylons up at the front. Sting, though, looking to put on some pressure here. We'll see if he goes through the destructible debris or just keeps trying to bait out some force fields. The energy on these sentries is not very good. I mean, he's got 2 of them that have decent energy, but that's about all.
Yep. All right, good trap there with a couple of SCVs. Sting can pick those up if he wants to, and he will pick some of them up. Charge is almost done, as well as +1 armor. If he can delay until that finishes, his army is going to do so much better against what Sting has. That +1 armor really does make a big difference here. Hwangsin may need to actually pull some SCVs, we'll see, or probes. Force fields trapping some of those units as well. The force fields, I got to say, have been pretty good.
They have been, but all the zealots did die very quickly, and now it's actually a lot of sentries going down, so Hwangsin about to lose his immortal up the front as well. There's still quite a few medevacs sitting overhead. Sting is going to lose this army, so he needs to back out very soon. Yeah,
Hwangsin trying to kill off some medevacs, trying to chase there, but just not quite getting it. Oh, Sting trying to get back around. Hwangsin, I don't think he's gotten Blink yet, has he? He got the Twilight Council for +2, but yeah, he didn't get the Research Blink quite just. Oh, yeah, he did charge first. That's why. Okay. There we go. That makes sense.
So, still quite a bit of units left for Sting. Oh, looks like he's going to stim in with some units up at the front, but he runs smack dab into a bunch of charge lots, and he's going to try and get a Colossus for his troubles, though, but it looks like he is going to die before before that Colossus does end up falling.
Yeah, here comes Hwangsin. Some Zealots getting a little ways away from the army, but Sting has to pull his SCVs again, losing yet more mining time. He does chase Hwangsin away, but Hwangsin, he's got a Colossus back home. He's making more of them.
Wow, Sting's really chasing
going for it.
This is a very, knockdown, drag-out fight.
This is messy, man.
So, yeah, this isn't a nice, clean, precise, I will drop you, and then I will kill you with an attack, so.
Yeah, this is a brawl, man. I mean, these guys are just trading punches left and right.
But Hwangsin's just on 2 bases now, so there's a moment where if Sting is going, if he can hold another attack or 2, he's actually going to be in a really, really nice position. He has almost caught up in workers, and with mules, his economy is going to look very good. So
now the big problem that Sting might have here is that he doesn't really have many Vikings out quite yet. He's got another one on the way, which is going to make a grand total of 2. And with Hwangsin finishing up Thermal Lance and a 3rd Colossus on the way, he's going to have a very, very strong timing here. He's also getting this 3rd base as well he's trying to get a 3rd base while it's being protected by this push. Have to see if it works out.
Looks like the factory is going to see that here in a second. That's when we see the shadow where he's trying to drop it down. Of course, you can queue up structures to land in the Fog of War if you don't know a structure's already there, and it'll pop up in observer view, but of course it won't land. So
yeah, of course.
And 2-2 upgrades on the way now for our Terran player Sting, and he's continuing to buffer that Viking count. Ooh, he's got to watch out for the AoE on that ramp there.
Yeah,
smart decision there.
It's dangerous for both players really to attack through that ramp at this point. Dangerous for Sting because of the Protoss AoE, but also dangerous for Hwangsin because his Zealots are going to be basically doing nothing during that fight if he attacks up it. So good thing for both players that the rocks are gone. Here comes Hwangsin. 3 Colossi, but does he have enough gateway to make this work? That's the question.
And the Vikings have died very quickly, but he doesn't have too much gateway units left over, but the Colossi just haven't really been touched quite yet. One of them finally going to fall there. The units for Sting trying to push their way through now. The second one taking quite a bit of damage as well. The rest of the Stalkers have finally started to fall. The Viking does go down, though, and Sting only has a couple of Marauders left.
This is one of the messiest PvTs I've seen in a long time, man. This is just brutal, but Hwangsin just seems to have barely enough at the moment here. He's kept his opponent on 2 bases while his 3rd finishes. So it's like he's just barely getting a lead. I mean, it's not over yet, but man, it looks like if we're going to go in boxing terms, Sting is a bit dazed at the moment. He's a bit dizzied after that fight. He's reeling slightly, but he's not off his feet quite yet.
Nope, and the Vikings still continuing to filter in now for Sting. Of course, he's got a medevac for about every unit that's out there right now.
A medevac for every unit.
Hooray! That Terran health plan coming back in force there, so
You're forced to buy the medevacs, though.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And here comes Hwangsin again. 2 Colossi coming in, and the medevac's just not able to keep up with the damage. And it looks like Hwangsin is going to take game 1. There's a knockout punch. GG.
All right, so.